Welcome to Shaw Sports and Faith. And today we're going to episode 54. And today what we're going to talk about is my playoff review. And I'm going to do first the 49ers versus the Eagles. Then I'm going to do the Chiefs, the Bengals versus the Chiefs. Now, let's talk about the 49ers versus the Eagles. Now, the 49ers, I came in, I think, on a 11 or 12 game winning streak. Had the number one defense. Had the number one defense in the league. And we're in the NFL. I think the fifth ranked offense, playing with Brock Purdy. The seventh round last pick in the draft, who they call Mr. Irrelevant. He was on a 7-0 run as a starter, which means he had won 7 games. He was playing really well. You had Christian McCaffrey, the running back, one of the best in the game, playing really well. Nick Bosa looked like he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. Fred Warner, and playing against the Eagles, who had the best record all year. Jalen Hurts, who was an MVP candidate, or is an MVP candidate. Even though he got hurt, they've been playing well. Got the number 2 defense, the number 1 offense, I believe. One of the best offensive linemen. The best offensive lineman in the game. The best offensive line, should I say. Really good receivers. Defense. They have it all. But in this game, we all look forward to seeing this game because we thought we was going to get a defensive battle or a very close game. But it turned out everything went wrong for the 49ers, man. I mean, everything you could think of. They were already on their third string quarterback, man. Garoppolo got hurt. Trey Lance, who they finally given a chance, he got hurt. Then in this game, Brock Purdy, he goes back, and that great defensive line, who was number 1 in sacks, which was the Eagles, sacked the man, which caused the fumble, which led to a touchdown, I believe. Messed up his elbow, which found out he's going to be out, 6 months. He knocked out of the game, and I already thinking, like, it's going to be over because they really need him. That's how they've been thriving, because of him. So then they put in Johnson. I had never heard of him, man. And he's a journeyman. Been everywhere he come in. He looking like a deer with the headlights, looking horrible. Didn't know what he was doing. Don't look like it, but you can expect that for a guy who hadn't really played all year, just coming in, wasn't expected to play. He come in, they sack him, fumble the ball, knock him out the game. So then they was looking for, man, who gonna play quarterback? Because we don't have any more quarterbacks. We was down to our third string and our fourth string. We done. We don't got no quarterbacks. I knew it was over. So they was thinking about making Christian McCaffrey a quarterback and running a Wildcat. So they brought in Purdy, had to come back, had to play quarterback, which made them nothing but one-dimensional. So all they were doing was just running because he couldn't throw because his elbow was messed up. So they running against a great defense. So you already know that, hey man, listen, all we got to do is stop their run, stuff they run, and Christian McCaffrey was still able to get 84 yards on 15 carries and a touchdown, which that really, really good touchdown. I think in the second quarter we ran over everybody, but they was overmatched, man. And the only reason they was overmatched because all their quarterbacks got hurt. And then it looked like every penalty was called against them. They had 11 penalties called against them for 81 yards. So not only was their quarterback hurt, they was getting heavily penalized. Then on top of that, they had 3 fumbles. Because you remember the first fumble when Purdy hit his arm and messed up his elbow. Then the other quarterback come in and fumbled twice. And so, it was just horrible for them. But you can't blame the Eagles. They played who was in front of them. So the Eagles played a really good defense. They ran the ball well. It was only they had over 200. They had 269 yards. So the 49ers 164 yards. They only passed the ball for 121 yards. The Eagles, and they ran it for 148 yards, with Miles Sanders getting 42 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. But he had 2 touchdowns, and they had other running backs. So it was a running back by committee. So they really dominated the game defensively, taking advantage of all the hurt quarterbacks, and they were able to run the ball well, just dominated the time of possession by running the ball, and they won the game. Jalen Hurts just really managed that game really well, no turnovers, and all they had to do was just run the ball and stop their run, and they won the game. Unfortunate for the 49ers, but hey, man, it happens. They had everything go wrong for them. And let's go to the Bengals versus the Chiefs. The Bengals versus the Chiefs. Now, the Bengals, who had won 3 games in a row, Going back to the last playoff conference championship game last year when they beat the Chiefs. This year they was 1-2 against the Chiefs as well. And then, you know, Eli Apple talking all that noise, talking about, yeah, we going to Burrowhead, we gonna whoop them, man. They ain't whooped us. I mean, they just talking all type of noise. Even people were saying that Burrow was ahead of Patrick Mahomes. And I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes, to me, is one of the greatest QBs I've ever seen. And if he keep going the way he's going, he might be the greatest. He got a long way to go, but the boy is talented. And Burrow been playing well. You can't take nothing. Burrow, top 5, top 3. Burrow's been playing really well. Actually, I think the Bengals have more offensive talent than them. You know, they got the better receiver core with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Tight end playing really well. Joe Mixon, who's a really good running back, solid running back. Joe Burrow, I think he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes, so that's the only thing that the Chiefs might have on them, and a tight end maybe. And then, you know, the defense is solid, so, well, the Chiefs might have got him with Chris Jones, but the defense is solid, but they look like they're the more talented team, is definitely as far as receivers. But let's go with this game. The Chiefs came out playing pretty good defense, sacking Burrow. They sacked Burrow 5 times, taking advantage of their second string offensive lineman, which they had like 3 offensive linemen hurt. Burrow, then the Chiefs played pretty good defense. So if you sacking the quarterback a lot, that means he got to rush some passes and he gonna throw some that he hurry him get that ball out, thinking somebody's open, and he threw 2 really bad interceptions that put the Chiefs in good field position, and they ended up scoring. I thought they should have scored. They ended up scoring 1, kicking a field goal, and I thought they should have scored more, but they didn't. And then Mahomes fumbled one that ended up leading them to a score. So the Chiefs found themselves behind. And the Bengals looked like they was probably going to win that game because despite Burrow throwing 2 interceptions and being sacked 5 times, this man was able to overcome that by nickel and diming his way all the way down the field. Also, when the Chiefs get a stop, when you think on 3 and long, this man threw a pass where 2 of the Chiefs defenders, cornerbacks, were down there. All they had to do was turn around and they got the ball. And Jamar Chase, who looked like Michael Jordan with his leaping ability, jumped over both of them, which led to another scoring drive. So the Bengals was really playing really well. Got to give it to Mahomes, despite having his ankle messed up, despite having both of his receivers get hurt in the game. Mecole Hardman came in already nipped up, and he got it hit again, and that just really took him out the game. And also a couple of defensive players got hurt. So Mahomes was already playing with a stacked deck against him. Wow, in this game, because his ankle is still messed up in his starting receivers, which means he ain't got the talented receivers that he had in the past. But Mahomes still was able to throw for 326 yards on 29 of 43 attempts for 2 touchdowns with both of his receivers out. Very impressive. Then when the game was on the line, when they needed to get a field goal to try to win the game or settle for overtime, when he couldn't find nobody open, because it's hard to get the receivers open, they were double teaming Kelsey, who's one of the best tight ends in the game, so he had to run forward. Despite having his hurt ankle, got to 10 yards, which kept the drive alive, but he only had 7 seconds. But this crazy... So they make mistakes. This guy made a horrible mistake by knocking Mahomes out of bounds, which first of all, he was already out of bounds. So it was a late hit. So he hit him out of bounds, gave him another 15 yards, kicked the field goal, and they won the game. Got to give it to Mahomes. Mahomes really showed a lot of heart. Mahomes played great. Well, should I say great? He played really well. 326 yards on 2 touchdowns. Very impressive because starting receivers is out, and he didn't have the most talented receiving core to start with. So you had to play with backups. And I had to give it to this guy, Valdes-Scantling, who played really well, man. When the next man up, he's like, I'm here, and I'm ready. And this guy had 6 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown, making that really good touchdown Them Mahomes threw and some kind of pass like that, and dude caught it in the end zone. Got to give to Kelsey. Kelsey had 7 receptions on 78 yards and 1 touchdown. Chris Jones made in order for them to get the ball, when Joe Burrow had the ball to drive to try to score, but Chris Jones made a clutch sack, which gave the ball back to him to get the winning field goal. He had 3 tackles on 2 sacks. Chris Jones, the defensive end, up for Defensive Player of the Year, although I think Nick Bosa will win it. Got to give those Chiefs a lot of credit. Also, I thought, even though I thought the Bengals had some penalties that went against them that was unfair. One of them was a pass interference, a couple more pass interference. One time when it was they called a timeout, but nobody noticed it. The play went on, and it was 3rd and 9, but it ended up going 4th and 9. And then they said, "Oh no, he had a timeout." And the Chiefs offensive players went out, and they punting team and the defensive team come out of there, neighbors, and the Bengals receiving team came out. But these guys said, no, forget the 4th. Forget the y'all called a timeout. We go back to 3 and 9. It was some plays that went against the Bengals. When I say plays, should I say penalties that went against the Bengals that kind of hurt them. And then that horrible mistake that their linebacker made to hit Mahomes out of bounds, which led to the field goal, which Mahomes played a great game and made that great scrambling 10-yard first down to really give them some more breathing room and give them another chance to get the field goal, which led to them hitting him out of bounds to win the game. So much credit to Mahomes, who played really well, looking like the best player in the game as he is, and looking like on his way to Hall of Fame career, one of the greatest to do it. So shout out to the Chiefs, shout out to the Eagles. It's going to be a great game. This is your boy Shad. If you like this, like it, throw the thumbs up, subscribe. You're going to get more videos like this. As I always like to end a video by saying, peace and love.